Welcome to the lesson on job posting through accounts payable. I'm currently at the Job Master Pro main menu, and what I want to do is hotkey over to accounts payable. So I'm going to press F11 and then hit the A on the menu for accounts payable, or I could come down and click on accounts payable on the menu. This brings me into the accounts payable center, or the AP center as we call it, where I can then find my vendor and then enter an invoice. So with my vendor displayed, I'm going to click on the invoice button on the AP Center's toolbar and begin entering my invoice. Now you can review the lesson on entering AP invoices from a standpoint of having it calculate the discount and due dates. The purpose of this lesson is to show you how to enter an AP invoice and update the job at the same time. So I'm going to enter the invoice amount of $1,000, and the trigger to the job costing is entering a job number in the job number field. So I'm going to enter the job number I want to update, and when I press enter, the job type verifies that this is a correct job. When I do press enter here, Cobra will verify that that job exists. So if it doesn't, or you don't know the job number, you can click into your job number lookup and use the many different ways you can look up a job number. Now, as you learned before, when entering an AP invoice, you can expense it out to as many accounts as you want to. I'm going to keep this simple by expensing it out to the material portion, the freight portion, and the sales tax portion of the job. So when I hit enter, what Cobra's going to do is add these three numbers up, and if they equal the invoice amount, then the save button becomes active. I can press enter to save the invoice entry, and then at this point Cobra will look to the job number field, and if there is a job number there, what Cobra will do is open up the job posting screen in AP. Now the key here is using this with all of its flexibility, because if you're using purchase orders with this, you may only want to charge the freight portion of the invoice to the job, because that is the unknown variable when you set up a purchase order. Or you can just send the whole invoice amount to the job. So if you wanted to send just the freight portion, you could double click on this line and it will bring it down below, where you can then post that portion to the job directly. Or you can just charge the whole portion, the whole amount rather, of the invoice directly to the job as well. So when I press enter on the job number, keep in mind that I can use several different job numbers in here too. Just because I triggered this with this job number doesn't mean that I couldn't go back and do several job postings all at once right from this screen. I can do that right here. Now, if the job was set up as taxable, that carries through over to the post to job window here down at the bottom portion of the screen. And the billable, this is the same as the do not bill that you saw on the job posting screen. So if you want this billable on the job, just keep that check mark in there. Otherwise, you can essentially do not bill an item by taking the check mark out of there. Now this essentially is asking us which portion of the job do we want to send it to, the material or the direct portion of the job. Material is the default there, but you can select direct from this drop down if, say, this is a permit or an inspection fee or subcontracts, things that are more under the direct section of the job. As I press enter here, here's the job type that the job was set up with. I can override it for just this posting to break my sales out into different accounts in the general ledger. Page. This is an important field too. Especially on a contract job where you may have split out the job into different phases or sections, you can post to a different section of the job by selecting its appropriate page. And you have your page lookup window right here too, as a reminder as to which pages you normally use. Now I can override this description to make it more descriptive as I post the item to the job. Now I'm just going to select the whole $1,000 instead of just the freight portion. So I'm going to come back down to my description and I'm going to say this is from supplier 4B for fixtures. So if you don't like the description that we put together for you, you can override the description as you come to it on the screen. There's your job markup that the job was set up with. This is how much you want to post to the job. And if you want to save any of this information into history notes, you can put a check mark in there and then select your keyword that you want to put this posting to. So if it's a specialty item that you're purchasing or something, you can track it right into history notes by using these two fields here, putting a check mark here and selecting the keyword that you want to store the item under. But I'll just press enter through here, and I'll press enter on the save. And what has happened then is Cobra has reduced the amount remaining on that invoice, so you can keep track of this to make sure that you're accounting for the full amount of the invoice as you're updating the job. So let's exit out of the job posting screen and out of the invoice entry screen in AP Center. What I'm going to do is hotkey back over to the Job Master Pro by pressing F11 and selecting J for Job Master Pro. And let's click on the Jobs button on the Job Master Pro menu bar, and I'm going to bring up my job. So what we can see here are several things. The jobs were updated. The job costing was updated with the cost and the marked up amount, or what we call potential billings. So down here under the job indicators, the suggested billing now shows the full amount of what we just posted because we haven't billed out anything yet. So the suggested billing is always keeping up with you based on what you've got charged on the job and what you've billed out on the job so far. So whether you're overbilling or underbilled at this point, this is your indicator for you. Now at the lower right of the screen, we can also see the relationship between accounts payable and the job itself. So the unpaid AP dollars means that you've entered this amount of invoices that haven't been paid yet through the normal AP process. And then the AP dollars to job shows you what you charged to the job through accounts payable. This is a cumulative. So what I want to do is I want to do a couple things to show you more of how the AP affected the job. If I click on the AP Invoices tab on the Job Center, I can see that invoice right there. And if I literally double click on it, I'll be taken right into the AP Center again, where I could do more on the AP side with relation to that invoice. But if I go into the Material Posting screen, I can see that item charged to Phase 10 of the job, how it was marked up, the tax. But as I click over to the right, scroll over to the right, I can also see the invoice number that posting was related to. Because these job posting screens show you all the detail regardless of where it came from, where it was posted to the job. All of your detail shows up in these job posting screens. So that's pretty cool. One place to look for everything. That ends the lesson on job costing through accounts payable.